Hey everybody, it's me. I'm coming to you, well, some of you live, not many of you probably, but recorded from just outside Atlanta, Georgia. Look at the back behind me. Isn't that cool? I was going to do this in the business center, but it was packed. There were like three people in there. There's never anybody in a hotel business center, but now there is. So I'm going to do this from here. Just a quick look at monitoring your social existence. So let's talk first about where we've come from. We've spent this entire semester first building up to everything, learning about what social media platforms are out there. So we did the big six, we did the other social media sites, then we got into the strategy itself, and we said, all right, what's important here? We have to make sure we understand our target markets, our objectives, so that we know what we're trying to accomplish. Then we moved into selecting platforms, and then we created content for those platforms. We just got done talking about how do you engage on those platforms, critical elements of your social existence. Now we get to the end part. There are two big things that you need to think about. You have to monitor your existence, so you have to make sure that you keep an eye on all your social accounts, and you need to do some research using social platforms to see what people are saying about your accounts. That's called social listening. And then you also need to measure to see how well things have gone. So we're going to talk about monitoring first. This is your slides have a really great picture here of the Dell Social Media Listening Command Center. As you can see, a very powerful center. They utilize a product called Radian6, which is a data collection and a social media tool that's used for looking at all the different platforms that are available and listening to see when Dell is mentioned or computers are mentioned. More than 22,000 daily topic posts relating to Dell in some way, shape, or form come through, and so they need to figure out, are these good? Are they positive, negative? Do we need to address it? It's a command center, and they have these for lots of other organizations. The New Jersey Devil hockey team actually has a social media listening command center. Well, why do we monitor social media? A number of reasons. First off, you have to monitor your accounts in order to be able to engage. You have to watch to see when somebody mentions you so that you can say something back. You have to be able to respond to problems or trolls. You have to say a problem with your product. If someone is bashing your product like a troll, then you can address it or ignore it. Depends on what the situation is. Clearly, social media does this a lot. That's why customer service is huge for social media. Airlines are a really good example here. You got a problem with an airline, the best thing you can do is tweet them. You also want to use monitor social media so you can spot some trending topics. You're watching things that are going on in the social world. Something really cool happens, you can take advantage of it. You want to do this for content inspiration. What can we find and use for our own content or curate content? Of course, you have to monitor in order to measure. So you have to monitor your existence to see if you've been successful at your objectives. And then finally, monitoring is a great way to find out about your prospective customers. What do they like? What do they not like? What do they tweet about? What do they not respond to? There's a ton of different things. So this is a good little thing. It says social listening can add value everywhere. It can add value to your packaging. Just imagine if you hear people complaining about not being able to open your package correctly. You can work on that and fix it. Your product itself, ways that you can change your product itself. People say, hey, I'm here. You can reach out to them. And at point of sale, you can actually get them to change their behavior. You can advertise. It's a good way to advertise and used heavily by social firms. You can recruit and find people to work for you. And then, of course, you can always use it as a customer service tool. A little story about Wendy's. You can read this yourself. Basically, it shows how they learned from their customers and how they created a product to help deal with it. Not a sandwich or a salad, but an app in this case. And this is a really cool example, but only to those who are really, well connected. This guy was on a plane and said, hey, can you meet me with a steak when I get off the plane? And they actually did, but that's only because he had like 100,000 followers. So you better get working on your followers. Another aspect of social media monitoring is called issue hijacking. That makes it sound bad, and it's not bad. It's basically finding something that's trending and utilizing that to your advantage from a social perspective. The Oreo cookie power outage during the Super Bowl is the greatest example of this. And as you can see on the right, look at all the awards they won for that particular campaign. Story simple. During the Super Bowl, there was a 34-minute blackout. Oreo had its entire social media team on hand. They came up with an idea, they executed it, and they put it out there. A little picture, a dark picture, Oreo cookie, and a thing of milk, and it says you can still dunk in the dark. Very huge impact for them. Sometimes small problems become gigantic problems. So McDonald's had this great idea, and that's sarcasm, of this thing called McD stories. And they were telling stories about suppliers and employees and things like that. But unfortunately, people hijacked it and turned it into something really negative. So you got to be careful of those issues too. I highly encourage you to go through this entire slide and read those links, because this is an Applebee's issue. This is when at Applebee's there was a table of people, and they handed out the bills, and this female pastor wrote on there, said, "I give God 10%. Why do you get 18%?" Left them absolutely no tip whatsoever. The employee that got stiffed showed a coworker who took a picture of it and shared it on social media. And from there, all hell broke loose. So I highly recommend you read this. Understanding how to avoid these kind of situations is critical. So like I said, monitoring involves social listening. Social listening, by definition, the process of finding, identifying, and assessing the information found on digital media channels with the purpose of devising a strategy that will better influence consumers. You're listening in order to use. So what do you want to do? You want to identify and refine the best possible keywords you can, find those top influencers, then find out some conversations, listen to what they're saying, and then go through. Share reports with others, take action about what you're going to do, engage with them, share their content, things of that nature, and then continue and find better and better ways to get good keywords. This is a key part of a monitoring process. So when you're doing your individual blogs, make sure that you consider this as part of what you present. What do you listen to when you're social listening? The answer is everything, and it depends. The key answer to almost everything in social media is, what's my target market going to do? So what should you listen to? You listen to the places your target market's most likely to be. What are some methods for social listening? There are a number of methods that range from very manual methods, meaning you sit down and you do it yourself, to very automated ones in which the computer pulls up as much of the information as possible. It can also be very small scale, meaning one person sitting at one computer, or it can be very large scale. A large computer-based customer relationship management software program can pull up thousands of posts and analyze them very quickly. Clearly, it depends on your resources in a big way, as well as your need. You don't need Radian 6 if you own a small restaurant. So by hand, using customer relationship management software, all of these are ways that you can social listen. Big aspect of social listening is trying to find your keywords. So what are those big words that you need to search for? So think about that when it comes to your individual product. What are some of the you to find information or social posts about your brand? So things like your brand name itself, a tagline you use in advertising, some of your products, some of your people that are working for you, your customers, your competitors, all kinds of things might be your keywords in this case. Good thing for you to just go ahead and read through. Some ways that you can listen, some things you can look at, stuff you want to be listening for, some comparison things you want to make. These are a great list here of things that you can listen for. I like this slide because what it does is it shows you some of the ways that you can think about and this is using a specific example. So like for toothbrushes and Colgate, for Colgate, you got your brand name, you got generic names like toothpaste and toothbrush. You got benefits, clean teeth, things of that nature. So stuff that you can think about.
Just letting you know I'm backing out. I don't want to alarm you.
Okay, thanks. You have to think about, you have to think like your customer. That's really the key. So when it comes to understanding your target consumers, that's why you're doing this. You should know who your customers are. You should know how they think. So that makes it easier for you to make that connection. Results are only as good as you are at searching. Just like when you do searches for a report, your results are only as good as how good you are at searching. Same thing with social listening. And if you want to do, you search too narrowly, don't do some keywords. You'll miss some very important things. But if you search every single thing that might possibly fit with your brand, you're going to be overloaded with information. Very, very large organizations, of course, have personnel and computers that can deal with that, but small companies, much more easy to get overloaded. Using the word "and" in a search certainly narrows things down. Using the word "or" can broaden it, but you need to make sure that you understand this both from a social perspective as well as from a Google search perspective. But be very careful. One of the outcomes of social listening is usually making not everybody wants you to respond to something they say. So them. That's did when I finished the campaign, where were my likes then? So did I increase the percentage that I needed to increase? Measurement's a critical element because it tells you whether or not you were doing the right things and doing them well. Helps you to redefine what you need to do the next time. So measurement's something also that's important. This Friday's big. You got a ton of stuff that's due. Your social media production assignment. The specs for that have been on Blackboard in the Start Here page since the beginning of the semester. The key here is that I want you to tell a story. I want you to say, all right, when I started this class, here's where my sites were. This is where it was. I didn't have a Twitter account, or I had one, but I never used it. Here's where my LinkedIn account was. I built one, but I didn't have any pictures on it or whatever. Here's a picture of my Twitter account or LinkedIn account when I started. Here's all the things that I've done in the last 7 weeks. I tweeted this many times. Here's a couple sample tweets. I got retweeted. Here's the picture of the retweet. I got mentioned in a direct mention. All kinds of things that might fit for what you've been able to do this semester in that case. So tell a story. Make sure it's a combination of text and visuals. I want screen grabs that demonstrate the stuff that you've done. I'm getting bitten alive here by ants. So I'm going to stand up and I'm going to turn around like this because I really don't want to have a bunch of ant bites on me. That would be painful. And yeah, I was right. Yeah, what a fun video this one was, huh? So make sure that you're telling a story that's visual, that's text-based, and that basically walks me through what you've done. The assignment does give you a grid as far as some of the things I wanted you to accomplish. You can use that as for like headers to break things up. Be as creative as you possibly can in doing all of this. So that you say, all right, here's some of the retweets. Again, go through that list and see what it says. For the third one, you can't do that. You don't have a list. You're just going to have to tell me how you worked hard to be engaging in this particular venue. Okay? So if you chose Google Plus, you built your page, what'd you do to be engaging? What are some of the things you did to try to understand what was going on? It's extremely important for you to tell a full story for all three of them. Your individual blog assignments based on Pizza Villa are due on Thursday as well. Go through it and make sure that you're hitting the main points. And the key element in every one of these steps, and the key element in social media, are those two things. Your target market, social media target market, and your social media objectives. It answers almost every single question. So which platforms? Depends on my target market, depends on my objectives. What content should I create? Depends on your target market, depends on your objectives. How should I engage? Who should I engage? What should I monitor? All of that depends on your target markets and your objectives. So make sure there's a healthy dose of target market and objectives in those particular blog postings. Your final exam, open today, closes on Sunday. Please do that as quickly as you possibly can so I have time to grade it all. Everything's due Monday morning at 9. And that's when grades will be in. I don't suspect I'll get them done any earlier because of the time crunch and how much work I'll have to do over the next 3 days. But it's due. The final exam's open. It is a comprehensive exam. It covers the entire semester. So make sure that you take into account the stuff that we learned. The good way to kind of figure out what might be on it is to look at the stuff that not only has there been weeks for, modules for, but also some stuff that have been doubled up for discussions, doubled up from the individual blog, those kind of things. Those are going to give you some good insights as to what might be on the exam. There's extra credit in the extra credit folder. Go in there, check it out, do what it says. Points are points, and it's extremely helpful, and I'm glad to be able to give those to you. I think that's it off the top of my head with ant bites. I really not 100% sure I covered everything, but I think that I did. Almost everything's been graded except for the discussion things. I need to go through and do those, and in the future social media, I'll get those graded as soon as I possibly can. And then I'll have all the rest of the grading to pound out and get those posted up on Blackboard as soon as possible, obviously by Monday at 9 o'clock in the morning. If you have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to email me. Do not hesitate to contact me. I'll try to have some open hangout times so that I'll be available and we can talk if you need to, if that's better for you. But otherwise, please, good luck. Ask me any question you might possibly have. And it's been a quick summer. What happened? This is like 7 weeks already. This was very, very fast. And I do appreciate your patience as well as your dedication to the work that you've done. I've been very impressed in this online format and the work that I've seen you guys do. So again, thank you. And I will be talking to some of you as soon as possible in Hangouts or in email. See you guys.